buzzins in trade today. And today on the technicals, we have Osho Krishnan, the Chief Manager and Technical Derivative Research at Angel One. Hi, Osho. Thank you so much for joining us today. Well, let's get started then. The first stock on our list is LG Electronics. This one on the back of a brokerage note. Jefferies has initiated coverage with a buy rating and a target price of 1,980 rupees. That implies an upside of about 22.5% from the last close. Jefferies says LG is one of the strongest plays in India's growing discretionary consumption cycle, thanks to its diversified product mix, market leadership across key categories, and strong premium brand positioning. The brokerage highlights that LG's deep distribution network, steady pace of new launches, and robust backward integration, all of these will help the company deliver industry-leading margins and high returns. Jefferies expects 15% sales growth over FY26 to 28, with operating margins rising to 12.8% by FY28, and that's keeping LG Electronics in focus today. More than 1% of gains coming in for the counter.
All right, moving on then from LG Electronics to Bajaj Auto that you have picked out for us, Osho. Bajaj Auto, what are you penciling in on the charts? That's trading up 1.3%. That counter has been very, very range bound, if you will. From here on, what are the levels to watch out for?
Very good afternoon, Ankita and Kanishka. Firstly, thank you for inviting me at the show. Well, yes, no doubt in the last two trading sessions, we have seen a very strong momentum in Bajaj Auto. This counter has gained a decent traction in terms of volume also, and on the technical front, it's moving above the short-term moving averages. And with today's development, the counter has even surpassed the sloping trend line. So all in all, the technical setup is very robust for Bajaj Auto, and I'm expecting that in the short-term period, 91.50, 91.55 might be seen as the first hurdle for the counter, but any breakthrough above 91.50 can see a decisive upsurge, and the counter can retest the zone of 9400 in the coming period. So overall, the technical structure looks very robust. The momentum is there in the counter, so one can look for buying opportunity. 9400 will be the positional target for Bajaj Auto, while on the lower end, 8950 will be a very strong support levels from a positional point of view.
All right, moving on from Bajaj Auto to the next counter that is in focus, and that's Deepak Nitrite. That is in focus on the back of a note by Morgan Stanley, where they're maintaining an overweight on the counter. The target price that they have set is 2,017 rupees per share. A lot of profit booking right now on Deepak Nitrite. In fact, there's sharp decline coming in from the morning session. That's reeling under pressure of 2.4%. But let's see what the note says. They're maintaining their overweight, and they've cut the target price. And they estimate the updated post quarter 2 FY26 results and management commentary. Their advanced intermediates remain rather weak due to low demand and high competitive pressure. Also, the phenolics performance stable, but the delayed capacity additions is a negative for the company, and also the EBITDA estimate is lowered by 7% for FY26 and 6% for FY27. The EPS estimates is also cut by 10% for FY26 and 9% for FY27 and 6% for FY28. And on the back of that, there is a bearish note that is coming in on Deepak Nitrite from Morgan Stanley with a downgrade, and on the back of that, Deepak Nitrite is down and out to 2.5% entry.
All right, that's Deepak Nitrite for you. But Osho, coming to you, you've picked out Godrej Consumer for us. Where do you see this stock headed over the next few weeks?
Overall, the consumer durables stocks are not performing very well in the recent period, but Godrej CP on the technical front has started gaining some kind of positive traction after the correction that we have seen from the zone of nearly 1300 towards 1100 kind of a zone. In the recent period, there has been some kind of buying traction in the counter, and I'm expecting that from a short-term point of view, there is potential to retest the zone of 1200, and once it even reclaims the zone of 1200, it might form a double bottom pattern on the daily time frame chart. So overall, I'm looking at current levels at a very lucrative zone for Godrej CP. One can look to accumulate at current levels. 1120 should be seen as a very strong support and can be seen as a stop loss. 1200 will be the first target, followed by 1260 from a positional point of view.
All right, so those are the targets to look at as far as Godrej Consumer is concerned. But moving on to another counter that's in focus on the back of its earnings, that's Siemens Energy. Well, the stock did see a jump up of over 4%, but it has given all of those morning gains after its Q4 performance for 2025. Now, the company did post a 32% rise in net profit to that 360 crore rupees level. Revenue surged 27%. Operational performance was pretty solid. EBITDA up about 25%. Though margins, they saw a dip due to change in revenue mix. Now, what did stand out for the company was its order book. That has climbed 47% on a year-on-year basis, coming in at 16,205 crore rupees, which did signal strong visibility for future growth. In fact, the management also highlighted steady execution, robust demand, and growing role in India's energy transition. So that's the reason why the stock did see a jump up of about 4% in early trade today, but right now it has given all of those gains and is trading about 3% lower.
Right, Siemens Energy, that's down 3% in the trading session. But coming to you, you picked out HUDCO for us. Osho, tell us on the charts, what do you see for HUDCO? That's up 0.6% today. But otherwise also, HUDCO has been in a corrective phase. So from here on, do you see the stock picking up?
See, in a very short-term point of perspective, the counter is gaining some kind of momentum. It has a surge beyond the 200-day exponential moving average, and now the support zone is acting as very strong cushioning support levels for the HUDCO. So I'm expecting any further correction towards the zone of 225, 224 should be seen as a buying opportunity in the counter. On the higher end, it is having a very stiff resistance around 240 to 245. And until that resistance zone is getting breached out or broken out, till that time better to have an approach of buy on the dips around the zone of 225 and try to lighten positions around 245. But the time we witness a kind of a breakthrough from 245, then we can see some kind of bullish traction coming back in the counter. And on the higher end, 280 to 290 will be the positional target that one can expect from HUDCO.
All right, so that's the target to look at for HUDCO. But moving on to another counter from the healthcare space, that is Lupin. Now that's buzzing in trade today after Jefferies has reiterated a buy stance in the company with a target price of 2,300 rupees. That's implying a 16% upside from the last levels, that is from yesterday. Now the brokerage is upbeat on Lupin's US outlook especially. The management is confident of sustaining over $1 billion plus in US revenues, 24 to 25% EBITDA margins by FY27, even with rising competition. A major trigger as well is Lupin's push into biosimilars, with 5 launches expected by FY30 and a sharp shift towards complex generics and specialty products, which are set to form about 70% of the US sales by FY30. That's up from less than 25% currently. Other than that, FY26 is also expected to be strong with new launches. So yes, that's helping revenue across the board. So that's the pipeline. Otherwise, also remains deep, over 100 launches in the US itself by FY30. So lots of updates as far as Lupin is concerned, and a bullish call from Jefferies, and hence the stock is in focus, trading about 2% higher.
All right, so that's the news flow coming in on Lupin. That's trading up 2.2% right now. Osho, you have also picked out Lupin for us on the charts. Tell us on the charts, what can we expect from Lupin?
On the daily time chart, the counter is in the formation of making a double bottom pattern. So I'm having a very optimistic view in Lupin and expecting that any breakthrough above the zone of 2080 on the spot levels can see some kind of strong traction in the coming period, and on the higher end, 2240 will be the target that one can expect in a very short to medium term point of view. So overall, there has been various technical developments which are very positive for the counter. There has been multiple positive crossovers among the EMAs, and even the indicator fronts are showcasing a kind of a buying momentum coming back in the counter. So I'm expecting any breakout above 2080 can provide a very strong momentum, and one should definitely keep this counter in the watch list. It is on the verge of giving a fresh breakout or a kind of making a bottom formation for itself. So there can be strong potential in the coming period.
All right, so fresh breakout likely for Lupin, and a more potential is what we could see in the coming weeks. That's the word coming from Osho. But on that note, we'll slip into a very short break. We'll be right back discussing all the others on the other side.
Welcome back. Here tune in to Market Fatafat, and one counter that is in focus right now is Tata Motors, because the Tata Sierra is officially back. The company has relaunched the iconic model from the dawn of the century, but with a modern touch. The Tata Motors are calling it the rebirth of a legend. Sierra was initially unveiled at the Bharat Mobility Expo, and after several design teasers, now this is priced at 11.49 lakhs. Tata Sierra is available in 6 color variants. The bookings open on December 16th, and the deliveries are going to start from 15th of January.
All right, so that's Tata Motors' new launch. But moving on, Osho, let's discuss a stock that you've picked out for us. Tech Mahindra was a top gainer yesterday, but today very flattish moves coming in for Tech Mahindra. In fact, in the past month or so, it has given a return of just about 2%. But do you see further upside coming for it?
Overall, I'm having a kind of a very positive view on the IT sector, and Tech Mahindra technically have gained very strong ground in the recent period in terms of price and in terms of volume as well. And there has been a decent movement in the counter. It has given a breakout from the zone of 1450 and has tested the 200-day exponential moving average. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, there is high potential for the counter, or high possibility for the counter to reclaim the zone of 1560 on a very short-term point of view, and even breaching that zone, I am having a medium-term target of nearly 1640 to 1650 kind of a zone. So one can look for buying opportunity in Techem at current levels. On the downside, 1420 to 1440 is a very strong support levels, and on the higher end, 1560 will be the first target from a short-term point of view.
All right, so that's the view. You could look at buying on the current prices. That's the word coming on Tech Mahindra. But moving on to another counter that is in focus today on the back of an order win. That's Premier Explosive. It's buzzing after it has won an order worth 73 crore rupees. It's an export order for defense products. It is to be delivered over a period of about 12 months. Earlier this month, it won another order of 16 crore rupees, which was again an export order for commercial explosive. Now, Premier has also signed an MOU earlier this month with the Andhra Pradesh government, proposing 500 crore rupees investment to set up a defense and aerospace manufacturing facility. In fact, we had the management of the channel, management of the company on our channel earlier today, and it says that the current order book stands at 1380 crore rupees, and with that, about 40% from the international defense clients, and targets keeping it above the 1000 crore mark consistently. Around half of the current orders will be executed in the second half of this year and the rest in the next year. Now, key positive is that the 429 crore rupees Defence Ministry order earlier in this quarter is a high margin contract that's adding to the upbeat sentiment around the stock. So that's the word coming from the management, and hence the stock is in focus today.
All right, let's move on to the next counter that Osho has picked out for us, Torrent Pharma. Torrent Pharma is trading up 0.4% right now. In fact, Torrent Pharma in the last 6 months has been an outperformer, Osho. From here on, what are the levels to watch out for?
Well, the counter has given a very strong breakout, and in the recent consolidation or profit booking phase, the counter has even retested the neckline of consolidation breakout. So I'm expecting that from current levels, again, the counter can see some kind of strong resurgence towards 3850, 3860 in the very short term point of view. And on the downside, it is having a very strong support levels around the zone of 3680. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, on positional point of view, one can look for buying opportunity in this counter. 3850, 3860 will be the immediate target from short term perspective, while the risk reward is also very much favorable for short term traders.
All right, so there are the levels to watch out for on Torrent Pharma, but let's move on to the next counter, that is Sunteck Realty. That's doing well in trading session. Two news pieces, news flows on Sunteck Realty. First is that they have entered the UAE property market via their international subsidiary Sunteck International, and they plan to develop a real estate project that's worth 15 billion AED or 36,600 crore rupees over the next 3 years. Now, this expansion is aligned with the UAE Vision 2031 and Dubai 2040 urban plan, and Sunteck is also expanding additional land acquisitions likely to be taken up in the next financial year. The second piece of news that's coming in is that Sunteck Lifestyle, that's the wholly owned step-down Dubai subsidiary of the company, has received an order from the London Court of International Arbitration confirming the withdrawal of claims and termination of arbitration with its JV partner Grand Valley General Trading LLC. All the litigations between the parties now stand disposed of. On the back of the positive news flow, Sunteck Realty is in focus. It is whipsawing through the trade, but nonetheless holding out in the green with gains of almost 2% in trade.
That's right. So that's Sunteck Realty for you. But moving on to the next counter, Osho, you've picked out Mphasis for us. Now, it's trading absolutely flat. In fact, it has given up those morning gains as well. But for the year 2025, it has declined about 3%. But for the remaining year that is left for 2025, do you think there could be a reversal?
At current levels, the counter is very lucrative to me. It is hovering above the cluster of short-term moving averages and has initially started gaining some traction in the recent period as well. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, the counter can see some kind of strong momentum in the coming period. 3000 being the first hurdle for the counter. That is a very strong hurdle, and if it breaches the zone of 3000, then from there onwards there can be huge rally in the coming period. So I'm expecting that from a short-term point of view, one can look for buying opportunity for a target price of 3000, and from medium to long-term perspective, I am having a very strong and optimistic view in the counter, and one can look for investment purpose in Mphasis at current levels also. So overall, short-term and medium-term both look very lucrative, and one can look to start accumulating the counter.
All right, so lucrative prices from the short-term and medium-term perspective. Thank you, Osho, for joining us today and helping us with those views. That was the last talk of the day. And with that, we're completely timed out on this edition of Market Fatafat. Ankita and I will take your leave, but don't go anywhere. Closing is coming up next.